cetera. How do you feel he's done as far as stepping forward, whether it's the trip to Cabo, putting the other passing camps and things together?
No, I think he was great. Just he's grown as a leader. Finding his voice, being empowered. Just in terms of what the coaches allow him to do and what he's been asked to do. My only drawback from this offseason with him was that I didn't get invited to Cabo, so that was my only beef with with Will and what he's done this offseason.
He's there by blitz.
It's just like anything else when you're playing the game of football, especially the pass rush. If you don't have, those fastballs off the edge, you got to find different ways to get there. I know one thing about Denard, our defense is going to be aggressive. Whether we had Lawrence Taylor and Pat Swillen rushing opposite of each other, we're going to still be aggressive and come after people. But it is what it is. Still got to improve the pass rush, whether that's on the edge, whether that's interior. However, we got the guys that we feel can cover people, and so I think that'll help the rush as well. But again, just something that we're always looking to improve.
Yeah, so, I had a lot of conversations with Sweat this offseason. He's, and it was more so about, making sure that when he comes back, his mind, his body's right. Because I think sometimes as a rookie, you come in and you don't realize how fast training camp comes. And then once it gets here, how long the season is. And just making sure that, he was doing the right things this offseason to make sure he comes back in the right mind space, and also physically. And then also just having general conversations about him. He was in Houston when the hurricane came through and just making sure his family and him was okay.
Defensive line.
It was always like Jeff was the leader of the D-line group. And then now you feel Jeff is not only the leader of the D-line group and the defense, but the whole team, man. You feel it and you see it. And, the way he goes is the way the group goes, just not in terms of on the field, but off the field as well, and how he handles his business. And so he set a great example for those guys, so they have something to follow.
Ran, did you feel
Calvin and whatnot, just how have you seen him maybe handle all that to this point and just kind of his approach up to this point?
I think Traylon has really grown up. He sent us a picture, during the offseason, this little break here, showing his new physique. He came in and he really took to heart, the conversation that he had with myself and with Coach Callie. And he's completely bought in. I've, messaged with him, throughout the off season, and I think he's in a really good spot. And again, we added Tyler, and we added Calvin. Obviously, D-Hop was here, but for a young guy like that, he has vets that he can learn from. And again, with him and his size and his speed and his explosiveness, and now he can be an X, he can be a Z. Tyler's primary spot is probably going to be the F. You know what I mean? So I'm expecting things from him and just his unselfishness. I know it was some talk about him taking gunner reps, but that was because he wanted to, and he wants to prove that he can stay healthy and play top level football.
You've been very patient.
Tell him that it's his time now. But in all fairness, I think it's going to be good. We're going to be involved. We just met with the offensive staff yesterday. Going through how we're going to chart practice, how we're going to grade practice, and how our staff can be a part of that in terms of inputting the data and us being all on the same page and how we're talking about these guys and seeing these guys. And so it's going to be an evolving process, for us. And I'll speak for me and A-Rod when I say we're not coaching anybody. We're not implementing any scheme. I'm not going to go and tell Jerron Christian, he needs to fit his hands better, or have better hat placement on outside zone. However, we know what the traits are, what we're looking for, and what's going to need to, make our system go. And so we'll be, involved on a daily basis of how we're evaluating and seeing these guys, so we can pick, not only the best five to go out there, week one, but also those top backups, because as we know, guys get banged up all the time, and we need to not miss a step when we put backups in.
We didn't about that at all.
We've identified a number of guys that we'd like to continue to move forward with, and eventually take care. But you guys have heard me. We're gonna keep family business in terms of talking about their contracts and what's next for them. But we, as a staff, we have identified some guys that we'd like to have here, long term. That's a big thing, especially for a veteran, at this stage in his career. And I think the way he's shown up here, the way he's bought into a new staff, kind of shows how he feels about us and what we have.